Welcome to another episode of Wrinkles in the Crease, where we take a look at the stories in hockey and iron out the details. I am your host, Zachary Morgan. I have with me, as always, my co-host, the Lester Real Deal, Trevor Neal. Trevor, what is going on?
Doing great. It's a beautiful Sunday. Conference finals are they're going, they're moving.
Yes, it
Hockey's
is.
good.
It
Hockey's
is
good.
Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Day, everyone. And we also have with us, he's Lindy, he's Buff, Andrew Tortoriello. Andrew, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for the Rangers Panthers game today.
Yes, game 3 is at 3 o'clock.
Series
And
is heating up.
the series is heating up, and because we have game 3 at 3 o'clock, for funsies, I'm going to predict 3 goals being scored today, total.
I hope not. This playoffs has been like oddly low scoring the last little bit. Like
Yeah.
weirdly low event. Still exciting hockey, but low event hockey.
I would say it has a lot to do with, let's take a look at the goalies remaining. We've got Jake
Yeah.
Ottinger in the West, and then we've got in the East, Igor Shesterkin and Sergei Bobrovsky, who you have 3 of the top NHL goalies right there.
Yeah, I love that you're really
And Stuart
saying
Skinner is
without
also
saying that the NHL playoffs has 3 elite goalies in it.
And Stuart Skinner
three
is a
goalies.
starting caliber goaltender who has played
a
well in
starting
these
goalie.
playoffs. And you know what? That needs to be accounted for. He played a really good game 1 in the Western Conference Finals. He played
great.
He played a really good game 7 to get them to the Western Conference Finals. I have to give him his props. I did sort of knock him a little bit, but I mean, and I still stand by a lot of what I said there, but I have to give credit where credit's due. He's shown up to perform in these playoffs.
He's won the games in front of him, but you'd be lying to say that he is not rank 4 of 4.
Well,
By far.
yes.
There's a large
One
gap.
of these goaltenders hasn't played in every game for their team's playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wow. But yeah, no, it's been like I said, a pretty low scoring playoff for the most part. I don't think we've had any like real barn burner games, really high scoring back and forth kind of games.
Look, I think we would have had one maybe in game 1, but I could be wrong on that.
Game 1, Florida New York was 3-0. It was 2-1 in the West.
Honestly, that game should have been 1-0.
For the Panthers Rangers, no, they scored that second goal. I would say it should have been 2-0, but one of the third goal was an empty netter there.
No, I'm saying the second goal was an own goal by Lafreniere.
Oh, so. That's right.
Yeah, Laffy. That was rough.
Yeah,
an own goal, great. No, that was just real bad looking. But I think it. Even while being low event, I actually think the playoffs have gotten a lot more entertaining as they've gone on. Because I don't think we're not seeing goals that don't mean anything. Like every moment is big right now. The way the playoffs really should be.
I can agree with that. Just having gone through the playoff scores through NHL.com, the most goals that were scored in the playoff game this year were 6, and it was done by the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1 of the only series they played in because they lost to the Florida Panthers.
Thank God they did. Yeah, and yeah, but it's been like a really good have you guys had a shit ton of fun watching these games too?
Oh yeah.
This is good. Absolutely. This is so fun.
Yeah, I have to admit that it's been fun to watch. I'll say game 2 fell into a little bit of a lull last night for the Western Conference Finals, but overall it was a good game.
It wasn't as big as game 1, but that was still such a fun game where the Oilers kind of have the control of it, and then the Stars had to play for their season in the third last night.
I can agree. I can agree with that, but even watching the shot totals, for some reason, after they dropped game 1, it was, as you said, when they dropped game 1 to Vegas, it was, we'll get them next time. Or maybe it was game to Colorado. But
yeah, it was game 1 after Colorado that it was, let's get them tomorrow.
Going into the second period, I sort of had my gut was telling me that the Stars were somehow going to pull it off. I can't explain why, but they
That's
managed to
peak
keep
DeBoer
their
hockey for you.
composure, and yeah, that's the
Yeah.
best way to describe it.
That
Ben
is a
don't
very
break.
composed team. They don't break.
Yeah.
And they look like 7 straight game 1 losses is a crazy stat. Like how you accidentally don't win one. I believe the last time they won a game 1 was the Cup final against Tampa. And that didn't go well.
That would track.
Yeah. They ended up losing the next 4, right? That series was in 5. But I don't know. There's a feeling of they lost game 1. They probably should have won. They definitely should have scored on the double minor. Yeah, it's weird to see a team hit 3 posts in a power play on overtime. Like that's what that series came down to. And then you had to play against Connor McDavid.
Puck luck.
So be the hockey gods.
Yep, puck luck plays a big role in the playoffs, and
especially overtime, man. Really... This late in,
oof.
But there's this feeling of, and it's been weird because they lost game 1, and they come into game 2, and it's okay. We're gonna win tonight. Like they've got confidence. They've got swagger. Tony, they're my pick for the Cup for a reason. I had no fear after they lost game 1.
I really didn't think. I mean, I guess I should have known because of the pattern, but I didn't think the Oilers had a shot at winning game 1 at all.
No, I thought Dallas looked good. Dallas looked good. Or no, they looked a little iffy to start game 1.
They did, but it seemed as though when you are able to push back and tie the game to force overtime, and you have the momentum of scoring, the coming back from 2-0, it did feel as though Dallas sort of was in control going into that overtime period for sure.
And then the best player in the world takes a penalty 10 seconds in overtime.
That can't happen.
A double minor.
That can't happen. That just can't happen.
Did you like that call? I wanted to talk about this. Did you like that call? Face-off.
There was blood. I don't know.
Because like Oilers fans were pissed.
I mean, as they should be.
The stick came up high. That's a penalty. It's a penalty.
No. And that's one where it's by definition you can't like play that by ear in the playoffs. If there is blood on a high stick, it's a 4-minute double minor. That's they didn't initially call it. It was after the first whistle, then they called a major so they could go back and look at it. But I was so afraid because it felt like an NHL playoff. We're not going to call that because it's the playoffs. It just I feel like we had a lot of sample size to tell us that the refs were going to let that slide because of kind of the moment and who it was. I'm really, really glad the NHL made the right call there. Even though
I think the officiating's been shit.
If there wasn't blood, I'm not sure that
it's not getting called.
Yeah.
It's not getting called. It got called because Matt Duchene is covered in blood and is leaving the ice. That it's off.
Hey man,
it's
jerseys cost money, and you can't just bleed on every game jersey. The players have to use those.
Financially, can't keep up if you bleed on more than one jersey in a season.
Facts.
That's a concern. We're gonna have to start getting the waterproofing stuff and spray it on the jerseys just so the blood beads off.
Too far, but Andrew, you were saying something?
We can't stain it. Yeah.
I'm just making fun of fanatics. In the Oilers-Canucks series, McDavid, I think it was McDavid, he hit Quinn Hughes in the face with a stick, and then Quinn Hughes was bleeding so much that he had to leave the ice to get control of the blood, and they didn't call it.
Yeah, the officiating isn't bad.
So, I mean, you really never know.
So maybe it had to do with we can't let him get away with 2 of them because it was also Connor McDavid delivering the same blow. Just one's off the face-off. That's not. I want to say that's a coincidence. So I'm going to. Because I can.
We want it to be a coincidence.
Because I want it to be. It's that's not a good look though. I'll admit that.
The has this been some of the worst? I hate this conversation every year, but every year I feel like the officiating gets worse. There has been some.
The officiating's been
Some
worse, but Trevor,
doozies.
you said it yourself. Have the playoffs been entertaining? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Damn it! I hate that you got me there. It's been such a
There,
good playoff.
so
But it's
that
just
puts.
like, do we just shut our mouths and be like the product's good, but at the same time, it's like you can bring it back to the hit on Marchand in the second round. That can't go uncalled. That can't go undisciplined. From a player who has done that multiple times in playoff games and has taken out players in the playoffs.
The Benedict?
Yeah. Because blue colored glasses, but Sam Bennett did something even worse in the last playoffs and didn't get a call for it. Because he drove Matthew Nyes' head into the ice. And he was out for the series. It's just
There
I feel like
are
there's been a
always
lot
going
of
to
shit
be
to
there are
go.
always going to be missed calls, I think, and part of that is just accepting that not everything can be caught in the speed of the game, and every crew of refs have their own sort of flaws, and we're very much seeing the missed things during game speed for some of these playoffs. So
Yeah.
I think it has more to do with kind of the ref crew, but maybe I'm not. I don't know.
Also,
There are
I've
missed calls
learned
every playoffs. That's just how it is.
if you want to score a goal, just slightly tap the goalie because the refs don't even know what goalie interference is, and sometimes you get lucky. There's been some doozies. Do you remember the overtime goal that Marchman scored that got called back
Against
against
Colorado?
Colorado? Should have won.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That
was
should have been a
insane.
goal. That's a goal.
No, he touched the goalie.
Zach.
I just wanted to see how you reacted. I'm sorry.
Zach.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to see how you reacted.
Nobody
I didn't
knows
mean what I
what
said.
goalie interference is. Nobody actually knows.
That's factual.
They just flip a coin and they're just like, okay, this one doesn't count.
I actually think there's some truth to that. I think it is completely random once it goes to a goalie. Unless it is blatant, it is random.
So goaltender interference of today is what offsides were, like 8 years ago?
What offside? Oh yeah. Yeah. Like
See,
it's just,
I think we're just it's a cycle. I think we're just going to have to accept a lot of the lumps as we go on and do what we can to improve it as the years go by.
we're Andrew, you watch some football, right? You dabble. You're a Jets guy, if I remember correctly.
Say it again.
You're a football guy a little bit, right? Watch a little football.
Yes. I'm a Jets fan.
Zach's a Giants fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the goalie interference confusion worse than the catch rule at its peak of confusion?
No. No.
Okay, catch is a fundamental part
that's
of football.
No, nothing will get that bad.
We're getting there, though. We're trying our best to catch up.
It's getting close, but nothing will top the Calvin Johnson against the Chicago Bears catch where he goes up to catch it, completes the motion, and then as he's up, he has the feet down in the end zone, everything. He's getting up
and he purposely sets the ball down.
No. He doesn't purposely set it down, because if he purposely sets it down, that's fine. But he goes to set it down and he knocks the ball into the ground, thus causing it to come out of his hands, thus negating the touchdown.
Yes.
We're trying. We're really trying. I haven't seen anything that comes close to that magnitude, but I understand and see the possibility that we can get there. Excellent.
Excellent.
Actually,
I think it's funny.
Hold on. Let me immediately go back a second and just. I was at the what game was it? I was at the game, the Chicken Tender Express game, actually. So maybe I need to go back and review some of those goals. Maybe I have recency bias, but let me try and look at those objectively. Remind everyone that I did not throw a single chicken tender that game. And then we'll see how I really feel about this, because I need to take a look and see, because I can't recall any that have been that egregious, though, off the top of my head.
Do you think there's something slightly ironic about the Marchment goal that definitely should have counted in overtime? I think most hockey fans would agree that's not goalie interference. The guy who touched the goalie was Matt Duchene. I just think there's something real funny about that, considering the offside.
I don't.
It always comes back to Matt Duchene.
Oh, that offside.
Oh, there it is. Now it clicked.
Yeah, that offside, right? That the big offside. Excuse me.
It was honestly an instrumental moment in our sport. I don't think I've seen a call so bad on the ice that has changed the sport.
Yeah,
because that was hockey waking up and realizing, oh, we might actually need to get calls right.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah. Should we take a timeout and figure out where little Andrew is?
No, we can keep going. He'll rejoin. Okay. He's working on fixing his internet. Yeah, no, we'll take care of it as it comes. I've got it all sorted out. Speaking of the Colorado Avalanche, though, let's talk a little bit about this, and then we'll jump into Game 1 of the Eastern or not Game 1, but we'll jump into a little bit more of the Rangers, Panthers series. Colorado Avalanche forward Gabriel Landeskog, who has not played since 2022, recently came out and said he watching the team play over the past now. Has it been effectively 2 seasons? Yes, 2 seasons.
You could say 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And it was especially quote unquote torture during the playoffs. He recently was taking comments from the press. I'm sure it was during exit interviews for the Avalanche. And he is intent on not retiring. He seems to have been working out. What he is coming back from is a meniscus replacement surgery. So he had the cartilage in his knee replaced, and we've seen this procedure done on 2 NHL players, Mark Mathot and Carey Price. Neither of them managed to play another game after they had this procedure.
It's invasive.
I do believe Mathot played an AHL game before calling it quits, but I could be wrong on that.
It's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a foreign, very important part of the structure of your knee, the cartilage, and it's replacing that. It's a very invasive,
I would say,
surgery.
If Mathot got into that AHL game, him getting into an AHL game is him seeing, okay, does my knee work? That's all that was.
Yeah, and he found out very quickly that it did not. And the similarity here that I noted, Lonzo Ball, Chicago Bulls guard forward at this wing player, noted son of LeVar Ball. He had the same procedure done almost, and it's been the same sort of recovery timeline for him. He has not played since January of 2022. It's tough to see.
So long to how do you, because to play sports at that level, your body has to not be human anymore. Your conditioning is not what is really sustainable for the human body. And to not do it for 2 years and then while recovering an injury and while rehabbing and then just start playing at that same level
to maintain or
how do you even rehab to get to that? Yeah,
it's an insane amount of work. I mean, I'm finding out just from rehabbing what is essentially IT band syndrome. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I went in with something thinking, oh, this isn't going to be bad because my thing is minor. Wrong. Just wrong.
And the crazy thing is, you aren't expected to play the National Hockey League now.
No, I'm not. I'm barely expected to run the 10 to 15 miles a week that I want to. You know who's expecting me to do that? Me. I'm the crazy person that's demanding this much. No one else is.
You don't have to if you come back at 90% of what you can be, success. They don't have that option.
Oh no, well,
they need to be 110.
No. My injury is not so bad, so I should be able to be back at 100, 110%. No problem. It should be fine.
Yeah, but like as a normal person, you don't have to.
No,
Like it's some people just have injuries where it's like I have back problems. It's stuff I could live with. If I was a professional athlete, I would have to just pretend I don't. I don't have
No,
back problems.
you don't have back problems. Doctors would know. You would eventually have to do. It would get worse, and then
Something.
you would have to do something major, which is what we're
But,
seeing
like,
with these players.
Exactly, and it's like a part of me wants to say like it's okay just to retire, but I also know that like mentally you can't. You have to try.
No,
You have
and
to.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's so. I was thinking about this when the Carey Price thing happened like 2 years ago, where he said the wrong thing at the draft. For some reason, I just started thinking about Carey Price. But it must be such a bummer to basically live your entire life in the pursuit of playing a sport, and then you get there and you get injured. Like Nolan Patrick. Oh my God. What just awful.
That Nolan Patrick draft pick is one of the most heartbreaking in recent memory. 100%. That one just look, and I'm saying this as someone who grew up a Penguins fan. My entire family is from Pittsburgh. It is bred into my DNA to hate the city of Philadelphia. I felt bad for that kid the second he got injured. And it's just, I think everyone in the community, like the hockey community, it sucks to see that.
I mean, it's never fun watching these high top draft picks go down before they can really reach their potential. And in Nolan's case, it was
quick.
It was he really
played like a rookie year, special. And then it was like his sophomore year that it really got bad, right?
He played a lot of his rookie year, and then his sophomore year he started missing time, and then I don't think he played a game his third year, as far as I remember. But
like luckily for like Landeskog, there's a part of me that's like I can rest easy knowing if he doesn't play another game in the NHL, which is unlikely. His last game, he won a Stanley Cup in.
That is true.
He achieved it. Like, he made it to the top.
He brought the cup back to
I don't know how much
Colorado.
easier that makes it.
It doesn't. He's been the captain of the team for effectively now 13 years. He was made the captain of the team as a 19-year-old kid going into his second season.
That's insane.
It's to say he grew up in this role with the organization is an understatement. This is what he knows for his adult life. Not to make it dramatic.
And but. I've said this. No, I think you make a really good point there, because you get guys drafted at 18. They didn't really experience normal childhood and getting to mature like a normal person. So they're probably like a little bit behind maturity-wise by the time they hit the NHL. They truly do become adults while playing in the National Hockey League. And if he knows nothing except growing up, with the Avalanche, he's been there for as long as he can, in the role he's had for as long as he's had it, that's nearly impossible to let go of. I feel bad for who's getting that captaincy next, because it's gonna be a weird feeling.
It is gonna be a weird feeling, but ideally, that feeling will not happen for another several years. As stated, Landeskog is planning on playing next season. He didn't say when next season. That's the important thing, but he is planning on playing next season. So,
if he's able to go for game 1, which is, we don't know, we don't have a timeline at all, that building's gonna feel really good.
It doesn't matter if it's game 1 or game 40. They're gonna light up. It's gonna be electric when he comes.
I can't wait for his name to be announced in starting lineups for the first time.
Me too.
Because everyone is gonna collectively sigh of relief. He gets to play again.
Speaking of massive sighs of relief, Rangers fans, after game 2, I know we're letting go of a huge sigh of relief after
very much so.
Taking
a piss poor performance.
Game 2 in overtime.
In game 1, you come back, you win game 2. You don't want to go back to Florida down 2-0.
You don't want to go down.
That's almost a death sentence.
Look, I'm not calling it that because we've seen teams come back from that. No problem. We've
Dallas
seen
has
teams come
this
back from
playoff.
that this playoffs, as you said, Dallas. So I'm not putting much into that. I am looking forward. Game 3 is today. That will be a hockey game. I'm making really definitive, hard statements about this this series. It is taking place, and it will be a best of 7 series. No, but in all
It will be in the
seriousness,
sport of hockey. Yeah.
in the sport of hockey. I did jokingly predict this before, but we have had very low scoring games throughout this series in particular. For keeping things, along the line of threes, we have Game 3 taking place at 3:00 Eastern. I predict there will be 3 goals total in the game.
Mhm.
Now, what is on my side? The last games 1 and 2 had how many goals in them?
3.
3. Thank you.
We've had a lot of two. It's been 2-1 games this playoff. There's been a lot of 2-1 games.
I'm not mad about that because we've also seen.
I like it.
We haven't seen many deep overtime games, but we've seen a good number of overtime games.
Yes, and it's been. I just love that. Like every single goal. I know I said it earlier in this show, but every single goal is so big because if every game is 3-2, 2-1, it's every goal might be a game winner. And
100%.
it's fun to watch. It's so fun to watch. Even if you're only seeing 3-4 goals a night, yeah, those 3-4 goals are goals that you kind of remember for the rest of the playoffs.
Oh, they're crucial, and
yeah,
that's why I don't know.
If you beat Shesterkin, it's hard to beat him. It's hard to beat Bobrovsky. It's hard to beat Ottinger. With the way that the Oilers are playing, it's hard to beat Skinner.
Yeah.
Well,
no, the Oilers are playing solid defense, and that sometimes is what a goalie needs. We've seen that. Look at what Vitek did with a little bit of defense last year.
Beautiful things. Beautiful, beautiful things. But the Florida. So after game 1, since I missed game 1 of that series, was it getting goalied or is it the Rangers playing piss poor?
They got
because I've kind of heard both.
They got goalied in game 1.
Okay.
It wasn't that the shot total was very ridiculous in favor of the Rangers, if I'm recalling correctly. Let me take a gander.
Getting goalied doesn't always mean you got a shit ton of shots and didn't score. No. Getting goalied is you got a bunch of opportunities you should have scored on.
Yeah, and that's pretty safe to say. Bobrovsky had some good saves, and they just couldn't figure him out in game 1. That's what it came down to. And
good series.
But what absolutely deflated the Rangers in game 1 was the Alexis Lafreniere.
That ruled. That was great.
I'm not saying anything other than it is a goal that happened, and it did notably take away some of the momentum that the Rangers were generating. It was a very late game goal.
Zach, I'll give you one moment
No.
to be a Devils fan viewing it. Did that just feel good? You're not going to say it?
Nope, I'm not talking about it as a Devils fan. I'm talking about it objectively until the end of the playoffs. That is how we're handling this. So,
after the playoffs are over, we're gonna talk about that goal again.
After the playoffs are over, we're gonna assess everything. But we need to remember that everything is still on the table. So that is why I'm keeping it objective here. Going into game 3, the Rangers have to be aggressive and they have to put shots on goal. Otherwise, you beat Bobrovsky by peppering him. You have to pepper him with as many shots as you can.
He's old. You have to wear him down.
You have to wear him down.
That is a factor.
And one of the things that I've noticed about Sergei Bobrovsky throughout the series, he finds himself sprawling in front of the crease, out to the side of the crease on multiple occasions throughout games. Good as Sergei Bobrovsky is, they have to take advantage of that. And to credit the Panthers defense, I can't think of a time where the Rangers have actually capitalized on one of those instances.
Florida knows that he overplays sometimes, and they've found a way to make it work. Yeah, no, those goalies give me freaking panic attacks because there's always like that set of goalies who always overplays a little bit, and they're just a little more hectic to watch. Like they're in control still, but it doesn't look like it because they're just flop. Like Hasek kind of style of goaltending turned down because I think Hasek was like that times 100.
But
you
Hasek
get
was
those goalies that
controlled.
play that. Hasek was controlled, but it looked like a fish flopping on a pier.
Yeah, it was magical. I have no other words to describe it. Please continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, he's freaky to watch. I love goalies like that though because if you're cheering for a team with a goalie like that in net, especially this time of year, anxiety and a lot of it.
You're aging
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, yes. The Leafs have had plenty.
Do you enjoy that?
No, I enjoy it in hindsight. I enjoy it in hindsight, and when the game doesn't matter as much, I'm like, this is so fun to watch. But when it's against Boston in the playoffs again, I'm like, can we like duct tape him to the blue paint, please? Because I want to put up a little wall around just so he stays there. Yeah, had to get that out. But yeah, no, Game 3 is going to be a must watch. I definitely plan on putting that one on this afternoon. Very excited for that.
But I mean, if you want to ask Andrew his opinion on the own goal, I do think he was more than willing to give you that.
Yes, Andrew.
To get us back on
Zach's
topic.
going to be all boring and be like, "Oh, I have to be objective."
Right up top, I just want to say the Rangers are going to lose. They will not win the Stanley Cup this year.
I wouldn't have gone that far.
They won't even come close.
Zach just died inside.
But other than that factual statement, honestly, if it was anyone else, I would have enjoyed the own goal. But I really like Lafreniere.
What?
I think he's a good player, and I think he got a lot of shit from a lot of Rangers fans and Devils fans, and I think it was unfair.
I will begrudge you that it wasn't just Devils and Rangers fans. I think it was around the league for sure, and he's stepped up this season. To give Alexis Lafreniere his props, we were going into the season saying Dawson Mercer looked like the better player, and Lafreniere, I'm not going to say he corrected the the perception, but he absolutely has looked like a number one pick in moments this season and in the postseason, which is what matters. He's had an incredible postseason that you cannot take away from.
This is what happened with Lafreniere. No disrespect to the Q. It's a good league. But players tend to pad stats in the Q slightly differently than they do in the other two leagues. And players who tend to do that, which is slightly easier to do in the Q, always get the, oh my god, it's Sidney Crosby. And Lafreniere had a lot of really high expectations put on him because of that, because I remember the he is Crosby conversation. Because he did play for Rimouski as well, correct? Did he play for the Oceanic? Or is he somewhere else?
I just know he was in the queue his entire time.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was looking up something else
it's just going. Like, hey, he wasn't gonna be Crosby.
Yeah, it was Oceanic.
He wasn't gonna be the generational talent that kind of some people said he was gonna be. Guys, Lafreniere is probably a good third line guy, second line guy. He's very good at that. Zach's gonna tell me I'm wrong.
I'm gonna give him top 6.
Top 6, yeah, okay, top 6.
At least right now, I'm not comfortable. I'm gonna call him a top 6 forward. At least that's what he's playing like in these playoffs. To be seen, long term. But I can say right now, confidently, he is absolutely playing like he deserves to be in that top 6.
Yeah,
and
he got the treatment that Jack Hughes got. Sometimes guys' development to what they end up being is vastly different. Lafreniere bloomed a little late. It's hard to adjust, especially from the Q to the NHL. It's a big jump.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He's never been a bad player. It's just people were told, here is Sidney Crosby. I understand Rangers fans being disappointed when that's what you were told you were getting.
100%. And
yeah, now good for him for turning around the narrative, though. Good for
100
him
Yeah.
for turning that around.
Yeah, hats off to Alexis Lafreniere. I have to give props where props are due.
I'd say Jack Hughes, but turned down a little bit. Is there some similarities between those two?
There are definitely similarities in terms of the development path, for sure.
Yeah.
Jack Hughes
Just,
didn't really
he's a bust.
erupt.
He's a bust. He's a bust.
He didn't really erupt until his third season, I would say. That was the big.
And now look at him.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Sticking
And
with
I want to make it very clear just before we move off the topic. Lafreniere still can be a top guy. He's still young enough he can make that jump.
There's so much time to develop. A lot of these in every one of the big four sports, we're seeing a lot of pressure being put on these athletes to produce now, whereas previously in years past we would see players given multiple years to develop, multiple years to sit back, watch, multiple years to sit in the AHL, then come up. But the development curve, it's just expected to be faster. The NHL is more demanding as it is now.
It's hard to be a first overall pick, is what we're seeing. It's hard.
Crazy.
It's a hard job.
Yeah. But speaking of hard jobs, sticking with the Rangers, they are going to have to shake up a little bit of the bottom six. Jimmy Vesey took a big hit in Game 2. He will be out for week to week, which is more or less playoff terminology for he's done. He's probably done.
You don't if there's a chance he's playing in the playoffs with the way coaches are, it's day to day. It's day to day every day. And it's a game time every night. If you're willing to give up the information that it's going to be a few weeks, he's done.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if you say 1 week, it's week to week is very rarely 1 week. That's what I've noticed, so to speak.
And look, let's say that the Rangers, let's say, God forbid, the Rangers win the Stanley Cup. That's what, 3-ish weeks away?
The Stanley Cup final would probably be about 2.5-ish weeks away, I would say. 2.5-ish, because you have to go through. We're in Game 3. There's potential that at least one of these series could go 7.
Yeah, very high.
The Rangers are not going to win the Stanley Cup.
I think it's committed to. I don't know if there's a point actually where both teams get a break. I think it's every other game until the Stanley Cup final is determined.
Every other night, you mean?
Every other night, yes. And that does seem to be the case. So the latest we could have the Stanley Cup final start would be probably Friday, June 7th, I would imagine they're targeting.
I always say, and this is a weird way I remember it, so my birthday is June 17th. I always figure the Stanley Cup should be awarded right around my birthday. His timeline is not really looking like...
It's looking like it'll be done before that. Yeah, because we're by that logic about, a week and a half away from Stanley Cup finals?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see VC, which is sad, but...
It is, but it opens up a spot in the lineup. It could be Capo Caco taking his spot back. It could also be Blake Wheeler, who suffered a major injury and hasn't been seen since suffering said major leg injury.
Is there a chance that he comes back in?
They're talking about it, but I'm not. I don't know if it's just blogs talking about it or if there's a legitimate potential here.
It's hard to tell. Cup playoff, they do not give you any information.
Of course,
we don't know. Yeah,
why would they? But
no reason to.
Yeah, I would say
until he hits the ice for warm up, he's not playing.
And it's more than likely that Capo Caco will slide back into the lineup that way. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens from there. My two co-hosts have said strong opinions that I do not mirror.
No, I want to say I am slightly different than Andrew, and I think all 4 of these teams have a very good chance of winning a Stanley Cup here.
I would say except the Rangers. The Rangers definitely.
All right, I'm gonna just toss it to Andrew so he can be a Devils fan because it's just brimming out of him right now. New Jersey Devils. Screw the playoffs. We're done with that boring stuff. Now let's talk about what really matters. The New Jersey Devils. Who's going to coach number 86 behind me? Sheldon Keefe.
Sheldon Keefe. Zach, where the hell do I know that name from?
Andrew, I'm just going to give you the floor. I'm going to put myself in timeout for a minute. I'll time myself.
Yeah.
Sheldon Keefe. I don't know, man. We're done. It's over.
That quick? What would
Yeah,
you,
so-
Zach?
sorry.
Do you want some unbiased on
I-
Sheldon Keefe? Guys, he's a good coach. He's a good coach. He got Shanna planned. Let's see what he's like without Brendan Shanahan. It might be good.
He did get Shanna planned. He did get Shanna planned.
And
I just
and the
don't
Devils
know.
posted that graphic.
I just look at the Leafs lineup, and I'm like, if you can't take that to the second round, what are we doing? I mean,
It's a different look. Because the Leafs have DNA of losing.
I will
Okay.
say my first concern with this hire is the Leafs put up a big bagel in their power play opportunities during Game 7. And
Mhm.
one of the Devils' biggest issues this year was, in fact, the power play, and hiring a man who's coming off a 4.6 power play percentage in the playoffs. I'm struggling to see. I miss Andrew Burnett.
What this?
I miss Andrew Burnett. I miss Andrew Burnett. I
Yeah.
miss Andrew Burnett. That's
And
what this
so
is. He's not Andrew Burnett, and Andrew Burnett is in Nashville now now.
So
I don't know. Like
you-
this could
you
be a
both
great
have
hire.
You both have complained about shaky lineups with the Devils, right? It's hard to get a consistent lineup watching
We have
them,
not
right?
had a
That's
coach
been a
that
problem.
has done consistent lineups since, I would say, Pete DeBoer, but I don't even know if he was consistent towards the end.
Here's the thing with Sheldon Keefe is he loves changing his lines. It is a different lineup every night. In fact, it is worse than what you guys have experienced before.
awesome.
But you can't take away the fact he does have 3 straight 100-point seasons in the NHL. That is not easy to do. It's
Look, it could be
His
that
playoffs
it
are
was just
hard.
the wrong fit in Toronto. I do believe to an extent it was the wrong fit.
Here's what they
Trevor's
needed at
right.
the time, but the Leafs need
He
to
has
move
a
on.
great record over the last few years in the modern NHL, and there are some similarities in the two teams.
Zach wants to puke saying that out loud.
Yes.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like Sheldon Keefe as a Devil is better than Sheldon Keefe as a Leaf. I think the Leafs kind of need a more authoritarian coaching style right now, and Sheldon Keefe is not that. It's fun to play for Sheldon Keefe.
And I can at least acquiesce to the point where I don't think the Devils needed that. Look, I think the core is in place. This could be a really good fit. It also may not be, but I do think they were at least thinking. I think they went in the correct direction as opposed to going towards, after looking back on it, say they decided to go down the path of the Mike Babcock-ish, like of that level of militant, just
Yeah.
authoritative. I'm happy they went in the opposite direction,
Mhm.
but I have concerns still, specifically when it comes to schemes. Just I want to see how things work out. We
You
can't.
just want a power play that can score goals, and I think that's fair. Power play that can score goals and a team that tries every night.
There's
That'd be
Jack,
nice.
like a power play with Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, and I don't know, Timo Meyer should not be struggling to put points up the way that it did. Granted, we are going to see some return of we also lost Dougie Hamilton, who is our power play quarterback.
I forget about that. Yeah.
I have to.
It'll get better. It'll get better.
There will be an improvement by default, but I don't know.
I love the
I'm not jumping out of my
spectrum
seat for
coaches.
joy. I'm not jumping out of my seat in rage. He's the coach of the New Jersey Devils.
That is such a good way of looking at it, because like, how can you truly judge what he's going to be like until he coaches this specific team?
Yeah.
Because he might come into the Devils locker room and look at them and kind of evaluate the whole roster and go, okay, I need to change some things. I need to coach them a little different than the Leafs. We don't know what he's going to look like. He could look completely different.
Yeah.
But I love this spectrum we kind of put on coaches of authoritarian versus like nice guy, and this weird little spectrum we have.
I would say it's
Where it's like
authoritative versus players coach. That's the best way to describe it.
Sheldon Keefe's the players coach, for sure. I'm curious to see where Berube really sits on that spectrum, but he's definitely more towards authoritarian from what he's said so far.
I would say it's kind of that direction for sure.
But I don't know why him going out and saying, and this is all I really have to say on the Berube as a Leaf because it's been talked about so much, is when he goes up in his first press conferences, his main thing is every player, doesn't matter how much money you're making, where you are in the lineup, is you have to be held accountable for everything you do on the ice. And I feel like the Leafs desperately need that. And that emphasized in being a priority might be what they really need. And I'm really excited to see what like the front office now does with this kind of new mindset that he's going to bring in. It's very different than Sheldon Keefe. Expect the Leafs are just going to have a very different attitude now. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that Zach, we're just sharing coaches with each other. And Andrew, this is great. Do you guys want that?
Not really next? Sharing coaches. It's one direction.
You're getting our leftovers. Guys, it was funny. The Devils offered Berube a contract. He turned them down.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go with what choice did they have? Because Ottawa stole our interim head coach. Stole. That's a term.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't getting the job. He was not getting the job in New Jersey.
No.
But
I like those coaches for those teams. I think both teams come out of that happy. I really do.
Yeah.
I think everyone's happy in that situation. It's new looks for everybody. And everyone kind of got what they needed.
Yep, which was a
new
coach.
How it worked out.
And one more team did hire a coach.
Yes.
Oh,
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah.
Yes, Winnipeg hired a coach. Rick Bowness retired on May 6th, 20 days ago. And
Hall of Fame career for Rick Bowness.
Yes.
100%.
Okay. Scott Arniel will replace him. He previously coached I think he was last head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets back in like 2010, 2012.
Yes, he was head coach of the Blue Jackets in 2010. He was fired in 2012. Then he coached the Chicago Wolves. Then he was with the Rangers for a little bit.
Does seem as though
he was an assistant with Washington for a bit as well.
Yes, assistant with Washington up until... He was assistant coach in Washington from 2018 to 2022, and he is now the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, getting a second crack in NHL head coaching gig.
Yes. 123 games coached in the National Hockey League, record of 45, 16, 18. One playoff appearance, or no, he did not make the playoffs. He finished fourth in the Central and only coached 41 games the next year before he was fired.
Oh, so effectively a season and a half. Awesome.
Yes. That's it. Hey, give a new guy a look.
You know what?
They obviously have a reason to go for him.
No, he obviously said the right things. I'm happy that we're seeing a guy get a second shot as opposed to seeing, I don't know, name another coach that just got fired and just bring him over there.
Dave Hackstall.
Yeah. Better than that.
There's more than 35 coaches. I'm glad we're seeing that. There's more than 35 of them. Yeah, it's good. I don't have you guys really heard of Arniel much before this?
No. I
just remember him, if I'm not mistaken, he was the coach of the Blue Jackets when they traded Rick Nash. Or if not
no
traded
wonder
Rick
he
Nash.
Had trouble.
Well, do we really think that was his call? Come on.
No, but it's not his call, but when the Blue Jackets are in the position where they think trading Rick Nash is the right move for them, it's probably hard to coach the Blue Jackets if they're making a decision like that. How are you supposed to succeed when the team's purposely losing?
Yeah, no, it happened not during the season. So,
okay.
Whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
want to say one more thing about Sheldon Keefe. I was kind of being facetious when I was like, it's over. I am still going to support him because he's the coach of the Devils. You
You want
know,
him to succeed.
yeah, I want him to succeed. I'm not hoping that he fails or anything.
Andrew, I'm putting you on the spot right now. Do you think he will be better than John Hines? Yes or no?
I mean, from his track record, I think,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, good.
hopefully.
I was
That to
about
me
to start
shows
crying.
confidence.
You've seen worse. You've seen the worst of the coaching.
Real
John
ones
Hines.
remember John McLean as a Devils head coach. Shout out. For I think all of like 15 games before they did that was the year where Scott Stevens was half head coach and
Oh, God.
or no, maybe I'm remembering a different year. I don't know, because there was a year where it was like Adam Oates and Scott Stevens doing co-head coach.
God, the Devils are a beautiful franchise, and I love them dearly. I one thing that I'm very thankful for this show is I've gotten to learn so much about the Devils and what it's been like to be a Devils fan, and I've
We are a
learned that
very
Devils and Leafs fans should get a drink together because I
we
feel
are
like
a
there's
very New
comparisons.
Jersey franchise, and I am proud of that. But also,
It is very
pained-
New Jersey. The
but very
Devils can't be
pained by
anywhere
it.
else.
No.
Yeah.
And the fact that they almost went to Nashville too, and now the head coach that I want is in Nashville, just hurts.
Yeah. God bless the New Jersey Devils. I love them. I love them dearly now. I've learned to be a Slate Devils fan. I always support them. I'm cheering for you guys over there. Like, I
Thank
hope
you.
they win some games. I hate the Rangers. It's bred into my DNA now. You're welcome, guys.
Hell yeah.
I will refuse to support the New York Rangers for you. Because
I want to reiterate again that I just want to reiterate again that I am not counting the Rangers out, and I am viewing them for the very real threat that they are to win the cup this year. They are
Zach believes the Rangers are a good hockey team, and that's
this
all he
is the
wants to say.
second this is the second time in the last 3 or 4 years that the Rangers are in the Eastern Conference Finals. You have to give credit where credit is due, as much as it pains me to do so. I think it was 22 actually they made the Eastern Conference Finals.
You don't
So,
have
second
to.
time
You
for
can
years.
just, like, you can just lie. You can just be like, nah, they suck.
But you give credit where it's due. They're a very good team. As much as we hate
I just can't wait till they
them, they're very
lose.
good. Oh, Zach.
I'm excited.
Zach's going to find Andrew as soon as he hits end recording.
I'm not doing anything because I'm this is his
An
decision to
unbiased-
do that, and I am going through my decision to stick by what I'm doing. I am in
love
great
watching
pain,
this.
but hey, I can only control so much. So, on that note, I want to say thank you for tuning into this week's episode. We should be able to start doing a back-to-back recording schedule, so we'll see you guys next week, and enjoy your Memorial Day. Take it easy, everyone.
Yep.